Barbara Simpson, Dave in the Bunker, 808-5600. We're talking with John Dennis, the GOP candidate running against Nancy Pelosi for the 8th Congressional District seat coming up in November. And let's go quickly to Larry in Novato. Hello, Larry. Do you have a question for my guest, please, on KSFO?
Yes, I do. God bless you. I'm sorry for your loss of your mom.
Thank you.
Been through it. Wanted to ask John Dennis, first of all, what is approach to the criminality and sedition that exists in our federal government? And that was my first question to him. And I have another question of just as hard an answer after he answers that one.
Well, give me your second question.
Second question is, he's talking about the dropping in value of the United States dollar, which if anybody is paying attention, is going away fast. Is he aware of the Bush and Obama administration's approach to the open borders as far as printing what is called an Amero in Denver, Colorado? Is he aware of that? Never heard anybody on the radio mention it.
Oh, we've talked about it on my show.
They're going to replace it. Oh, you have talked about it.
Not recently, but we have. Yeah, let's have John address this because we don't have a lot of time left, and okay. I want him to. Thank you for your question. What about dealing with, as he said, the criminality and sedition in the federal government?
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't know specifically. I mean, you can tell from my interpretation of the Constitution that I'm not pleased with what they do with the federal government, but. Yeah, I mean, we have a very tricky situation, a tough situation where people have just used any, clause in the Constitution or anything they wanted to ignore it, and I think we need to hold people accountable for it. So, I mean, without knowing a specific.
Yeah. Okay. What about? Would you support impeachment?
Of whom? Of Obama? Obama. For what specifically?
Well, people toss the word around. They don't say specifically what. I think they're just unhappy with how he treats the Constitution.
I would be for impeachment for any president that violated the Constitution. So yeah, okay. I mean, it would have to be
specific
on a case
charges.
by case. Yeah, exactly.
Specific charges.
Yeah.
Okay, very good. And this business of the Amero is the open borders and the whole, Western Hemisphere, North and South America and Canada, one big country.
Yeah.
There's a lot of speculation on that. Whether it's true or not, I don't know. We've certainly talked about it a lot. Let's go to Steve in Walnut Creek. Quick question for my guest, John Dennis on KSFO. Steve?
Yeah, thanks, Barbara. I wanted to ask Mr. Dennis, what he thinks about putting limits on the judicial standing of groups like the Sierra Club, the Nature Conservancy, who clearly put the welfare of creatures like the Delta smelt above the welfare of human beings in farming in California.
Okay, let's take an answer on the air. What kind of limits can you put on organizations like that?
Yeah, you're going to run into First Amendment problems if you put in too stringent limits. But I think we need to reevaluate the ESA. I mean, just take a look at it and let's see where we stand with that. I mean, it's a really potent tool for those folks, and it's doing untold damage to orchards in the Central Valley that take decades to cultivate.
Exactly, the Endangered Species Act, which is it's controlling everything. It's affecting farming and ranching and everything across the country.
And the EPA has got to get reined in. The Congress has got to take control of that situation with the EPA.
Do you believe in global warming?
I am not so convinced on it, I have to admit. I think most people want to protect protect the environment. I think people will bend over backwards to do that, and I think we want to make sure that we leave a better world than what we found. I'd like to really hold people accountable for the damage, the direct damage that they do to the environment, and that's what we started off with when we were talking about BP earlier. We've got to hold folks accountable, and then they'll police themselves.
Yeah, ultimately, what do you think about the Barton's comment about the $20 billion that Obama is demanding that BP come up with? Are you in favor of the president saying to a corporation, you have to do that?
I am in favor of the president following the Constitution of the United States, and I'm uncomfortable with what he did.
Okay, fair enough. Mike in San Jose, quick question for my guest, John Dennis. Go ahead.
Good afternoon. I'm calling because I remember when you were debating Dana on earlier show last month, and that wasn't real impressive. Your main point was that she lived a block outside of the district, which really doesn't carry much.
Okay, but listen,
so many other things.
Mike, he won it now, so he's the candidate. Do you have a question?
How am I doing today, Mike?
Take off the gloves. Now we need to be a little more. You stand with you're talking about Israel. I mean, it's these kind of talk is what got us into these messes that we're in now. I mean, we have these point blank. We're going to stand with Israel, no matter I can't imagine them doing anything so atrocious that we wouldn't stand by them. And we need to take the gloves off and let the world know that this movement that's coming up in the grassroots is serious, and that's what we need from you, and that's part of what you're going to have to keep the grass moving on your side. We want to endorse you, but I want to.
Well, Mike, I appreciate that.
This.
Yeah, Mike, let me just say this. I'm the guy who's been saying all along that we're handcuffing Israel. And we're the people that are holding them. Israel is getting attacked from Hamas in the south, Hezbollah in the north, and our positions. We've told them to take it easy with them because we are in awkward positions in Iraq and Afghanistan. So, and as I said before too, we're the ones we're giving Israel aid and then telling them to take it easy and and follow our lead on these things. And I say we take the handcuffs off Israel and let them handle the situation
and be right behind them when they go. But domestically, man, we need conservative values more than ever before.
Listen, he said that, and I appreciate that. And I didn't mean to cut you off, but we're really tight on time. I want to go to Joyce in Clayton. Joyce, quickly, a question for my guest, please.
Yes, I would just like to know Mr. Dennis's position on the health care bill.
Okay, thank you for that. What about your position on the health care bill?
Yeah, that was a real disaster and an enormous missed opportunity to really correct the problem. In the nutshell, in the little time that we have left, the problem with our healthcare system is the third-party payer, which has been encouraged by the federal government since the 40s. Since the 40s, it was doubled down with the inflation and the HMO Act in 1973. It just encouraged more and more people go to third-party payers. And the problem with third-party payers is that when somebody else is paying for something, you tend to not care about the costs. And when somebody else is paying for something, you tend to use it more often than you would if you were paying yourself. That's the problem. What we really need to do is have legislation and have a system that takes us away from the third-party payer. And then people will start caring about the costs, and you'll see them come down.
If Nancy Pelosi were sitting across from you right now, what three things would you challenge her with?
Well, first of all, she went out of her way to cause a constitutional crisis with this healthcare business. That's the first thing. The second thing is, I have to say, this is a woman who said she was going to drain the swamp. And since that time, two of her very close coterie, the late John Murtha and Charles Rangel, who is unfortunately still with us, they've both been involved in very deep corruption issues.
Yes, they have.
And then lastly, I would just say, look, all of the things that you were prescribing is what got us into trouble in the first place. There's no record of any success. The economy and the federal government has put us into a position that is unsustainable and we cannot pay back. I would like to know how she feels like doing more of the same is going to make us any better off.
What is your website?
JohnDennis2010.com.
That's DENNIS, JOHNDENNIS 2010.com. And I gather you would like support. You want people to work for your campaign. You want donations. What do you need to make this a win for you?
Yeah, I think, well, of course, money's always nice, and we'd be grateful to have it. We felt like in the primary, the real difference that put us over the top were the volunteers. So we have systems online where you can come and volunteer. Just sign up at the website, come and get involved, and let's take the fight right now to Nancy Pelosi. I think we can win a lot of votes here and do something special.
Have you extended the invitation for a debate yet?
Yeah, the other side has not responded.
Why does that not surprise me? Very good. Well, listen, thank you very much. I appreciate you being here. Are you getting a good reception from the California GOP?
Yeah, yes, very good. Yeah. We've always had good relationships, and I think they're excited that there's a really enthusiastic candidate going after Nancy Pelosi.
Well, that's good because I have my own reservations about the party and the state. And
I didn't say they were going to help me very much.
That's true, you didn't, did you?
The Republican Party is sort of like the banks. You know that old thing, banks only lend money to people who don't need it?
Yeah, right.
Well, we're going to go out, and once we're doing well, I think they're going to get right behind us.
Good, very good. Thank you so much for being with us in studio. I appreciate it. His name is John Dennis.